Bravo.
Was that it, or was that practice? That was it.
Good morning and welcome to the UUFSMA service this morning. I'm Judith Jenya, your service leader for today. Thank you for making community together, both by Zoom and here at the Aldea. We're glad to be together. We welcome all of you joining us today, wherever you are, whatever your religious background or lack of one, and whoever you love. You can bring your whole self here. Our speaker today is Mark Johaningsmeir, who also happens to be my husband. He's a retired United Methodist minister. He served congregations in both Minnesota and in Colorado before retiring to Mexico, where we met. He is an active member of this Unitarian Universalist Fellowship and is an active thinker about perplexing issues. We have a few announcements now. After the service, Those on Zoom are invited to stay connected and visit with others in the main living room for discussion. And if you are visiting, please type in your name, how you heard of us, and where you're from in the chat box so we can greet you personally later. Those of you here at the Aldea can join us for coffee and cookies over there. And check out the welcome table with lots of opportunities and information, including about the Social Justice Foundation. Also, you can come to our Thursday lunch and games event here in San Miguel, and Tom's Coffee Hour on Zoom. Check your order of service. There's going to be a Circle Cena on August 25th at La Frontera. All UUs, friends, and neighbors are invited. The buffet will be served beginning at 5 p.m. and will cost 250 pesos. The food will be delicious, we hope, and the fellowship will be wonderful, we know. So to reserve, see Diana Amayo, who's standing in the back there, and sign-up sheet at the information table. If you're on Zoom and want to sign up, use the chat box to do so. Ellie Goodwin will see your messages there. Now, a word of caution. There is an internet scam going on targeting members of this fellowship. So be aware that neither Tom Rossiello, our minister, nor any board members will ever send out requests for money or ask you to buy gift cards. These are scams. Do not respond. It's a very bad thing going on now. Okay, what else do we have? If you are a visitor today, would you please stand so that we can see who you are and personally greet you and ask where you're from at the coffee hour after the service? Thank you. We do record our Sunday services and our in-person Sunday services. You can find a link to these on our website, UUFSMA.org. And right on the website, please, and while you're there, check out the various events sponsored by the fellowship and information on how to become a member. And now Mark will join us for the opening words.
Good morning. Thousands of years of history have passed, and during all that time, human beings have fought and killed, plundered and wronged each other in every possible way. Of such stuff, history is made. But also during that time, other human beings have quietly, patiently persevered in the development of the arts, in inventions, in developing programs and ideas and ways to bring people together. From these millions of creative persons, most of them unnoticed, unknown, in the upheavals of history have come the good and lasting things in the sum of human culture. Our practice has been to light a candle that is held by a chalice, an interesting combination of symbols. The light shines forth. Invite you to take the hymnal or prepare to look at either of the screens and join together in song. It's found in the hymnals on page 16. I invite you to stand if you're able. And after this song, I'd like you to continue standing for our covenant.
Now, if you will join me for our covenant, and I will lead us in English, and Sebastian will lead us in Spanish, if he likes to come up here. We respect the interdependent web of life and search for a just and peaceful world. We encourage the search for truth and meaning, and then ask to be in relation to each other and the larger world. And that this is our covenant.
Respetamos todos los estilos de vida dentro de su red interdependiente y trabajamos por un mundo justo y pacífico. Alentamos la búsqueda de la verdad y la comprensión total. Nos esforzamos por mantener compasión en nuestras relaciones y buscamos valores que beneficien nuestras vidas y las vidas de los demás. Este es nuestro convenio.
Mark?
What follows is a dialogue that's based on something that you find in the back of the hymnal, and instead of doing that as a responsive reading, Judith and I are going to do this as a dialogue. My friend, I'm lost. I've lost my way.
The way leads on from here.
Isn't there another way?
The way is one.
I need to retrace my steps.
The way is gone forever.
I want to start over.
No one may do that.
Then I will make my home here.
The road beckons.
I want to put down roots here.
No one may remain. The way leads on.
But I don't know where I'm headed.
The way will show you.
What will I find at the end?
The way will show you. The way leads on.
A reading from the Austrian poet Rainer Maria Rilke. I beg you, earnestly, to have patience with all unresolved problems in your heart. Try to live the questions themselves. They're like locked rooms or books written in a foreign tongue. Don't search now for the answers, which cannot be given you because you could not live them now. And that's the point, to live everything. Now you must live your problems. And perhaps gradually, without noticing it, on some distant day, you will live your way into the answers.
Good morning. It's really wonderful to be with you this morning. Before I share your joys and concerns, I want to take a moment to thank you for all the emails, the paper cards, the electronic cards, even boxes of goodies that have arrived wishing me a speedy recovery. Recovering from both my broken arm and from my hip replacement surgery. Your good wishes, positive thoughts, and prayers have really worked because I'm walking quite well without a cane and my arm has healed. I continue with therapy and doctor's appointments, but I will be back in San Miguel in mid-September in really much better condition than I was when I left. And also next Sunday, with the help of some of our diaspora members in Pennsylvania, I will be leading worship and preaching the sermon. So look forward to seeing you then and then in person in September. As I have personally been the beneficiary of and have witnessed, this congregation is indeed a caring community. We're here for each other in good times and in difficult times. If at any time you need the assistance of a minister or help from our care team, please let me know. Information on how to contact us is on the website, UUFSMA.org. And you should know that even when I'm away, I'm still available for pastoral care. So don't hesitate to email me and we can set up a time to talk. As you know, an important part of our service each week is the sharing of the significant joys, sorrows, and concerns of our members and friends. And for each joy or sorrow or concern, Susan will light a candle indicating that that person or that thought or that prayer is held in all of our hearts this morning. As a reminder, if you wish to have a joy, sorrow, or concern shared in an upcoming service, you can email it to me. If you're going to be at that service in person at the Allende, you can also write it on a card that one of the ushers will provide you as you enter. And if you are on Zoom today and wish to share a joy, sorrow, or concern today, you can type it into the chat now. we start with some joys. First one is that Cynthia Klaus will be celebrating her 82nd birthday on Thursday, on August 14th, and also that she's making wonderful progress in recovering from a fall that was about 5 weeks ago. Also, Bridget Whiteman's birthday is tomorrow, so we light a candle for her. Both of those folks are faithful Zoom attendees, both at services and at the Tuesday morning coffee group. And I would like to light a candle for all of the folks that join us via Zoom, for those members who, because of distance or health challenges, are not able to be with us in person, but join us week after week on Zoom for the service or for the Tuesday coffee hour or other events. We are so blessed to have all of you as part of this community. This morning, there were 37 of you on Zoom. Another joy that I know many of you are experiencing is to have Paula back and San Miguel at the piano, and having her equally talented husband, Michael, joining her in providing beautiful music for this service. We're full of joys. Another joy, Elena Lawrence continues to recover after getting a new hip. She's getting out of the house now and able to do much more. And let's light a candle for Theo Billings, who is doing much better on her recovery journey from surgery and is back working in her studio and even soon to offer a class there in collage making. And now, before we light our final candles for the world concerns and unspoken joy, sorrows, and concerns, let's go back to the Aldea, to Susan, to see if we have any joy, sorrows, or concerns that were submitted as cards this morning. And while we'll do, I'll take a look to see if anything came in on Zoom.
We have one concern, a kind of a sadness to just note. Many of you are of the generation who will recognize the name Tom Lehrer, a singer who died within the last week or so. And this note was from Michael Hertz, our member, and he just wants to remind you that he sang songs like Poisoning Pigeons in the Park, which I never heard of, but yes, he did. That's all, Tom.
Thank you, Susie. And I don't see any others. Well, Marjorie Buren just has posted, yay, Tom, good news. So thank you, Marjorie. I see no others, so let's go on with concerns that are not just limited to our members and friends. We continue to be greatly concerned about the treatment of the immigrant community in the U.S. who are living in fear of what's happening, and we light a candle for all of them. We light our blue and yellow candle for the people of Ukraine who suffer because of the effects of this unjust and unprovoked war. We light another candle for the war in the Middle East, representing so many things: lives lost, all those displaced, those suffering starvation due to the severe lack of food and medical supplies that cannot get through. We light this with a prayer that humanitarian aid will be allowed to reach them quickly. We too pray for the release of the Israeli hostages that have suffered horribly at the hands of Hamas for more than 600 days. We pray the Red Cross will be allowed to minister to them and that they will quickly be released and returned, both those who are alive and those who have passed away but are still held by Hamas. We pray for a ceasefire, the end of killing, and for a path to peace which recognizes the equal worth and dignity of every person. We light a final candle now for all those joys, sorrows, and concerns that are held deep in our hearts, but which remain unspoken. And may we come together in a spirit of prayer or reflection. Spirit of community, in which we share and find strength and common purpose. We turn our minds and hearts to one another, seeking to bring into our circle of concern all who need our love and support, those who are ill, those who are in pain, either in body or in spirit, those who are lonely, those who have been wronged. We acknowledge that we are part of a web of life that makes us one with all humanity, one with all the universe. May this time of sharing, of joy, sorrows, and concerns lead us to a better understanding of our community and of the precious gifts we possess and which enable us to minister to others. And now I invite those who wish to come forward and light a candle silently for whatever is in your heart this morning.
Not long after Judith and I got together, she asked me, why are Christians always talking about faith, about belief or believing? She said, I never hear Jews using those terms. I don't even know what they mean. Well, I am theologically trained. I have a degree in divinity, no less. So I was pretty sure I could come up with an answer. And when I finished, Judith looked at me and said, "Yes, but I still don't get it." Now, I already knew that Judaism was not built around a set of beliefs. I know that Jews don't even have to believe in God. And when I thought about it, I knew that Buddhism was not based on a set of beliefs. And then I noticed further that there were very few religious traditions in the world that are built on beliefs. Now, I'm slipping in a footnote. I got many of the concepts that I'm working with today from a James P. Carse. He is Professor Emeritus of Religion at New York University. Back to our regularly scheduled programming. I know that Unitarian Universalists did not have a formal list of ideas that you had to agree to in order to become one of them. My tradition, United Methodism, also does not have any formal set of propositions, ideas, beliefs that are required for belonging. And yet, it happens. People often try to pin you down. So just what is it that you believe? When that's not really the most important thing about our religious traditions. Believing, it seems, is somehow not what I've always assumed. And it's given me a new perspective. I want to step back from that word of belief, believing. And instead, I want to explore the phenomenon of ignorance. You're familiar with the concept. You've probably even once or twice experienced, not in yourself, but in ignorance manifests in a few different ways. I'm going to talk about three. The first we'll call ordinary ignorance. That's when I just don't know something. I lack information or data, or it's unknowable for now because the answer is off in the future. For example, who will win the midterm elections? Or I don't know how to fix my iPhone. Or my Spanish is so bad I often can't express myself to our housekeeper. Ordinary ignorance can be addressed pretty easily. I could just get some information, or I could be patient to wait for an outcome. Or I could find somebody to show me how to make my cell phone behave. Or I could get a tutor and work on learning more Espanol. Ordinary ignorance, easy to remedy, easy peasy. But there's another kind of ignorance that we'll call willful ignorance. Maybe you're not familiar with the term, but I'll bet you know what it looks like. Let's say you have some big expenses coming up. And when those charges hit your account and show up on your statement, you're not going to be able to cover it. But you go online shopping for the latest and the fanciest and most sophisticated thingy, whatever it is you've been hankering for. And when you hit the Order Now button, you choose not to think about consequences. Willful ignorance. Let me share another example. You've had this pain in your gut for a few weeks, and you suspect it's bad. Cancer runs in your family, and you've decided you never want to subject yourself to a lengthy course of chemo or radiation that will be painful and debilitating and costly, and you'll still die. That's what he was thinking. This guy would rather not know, rather not discuss it with a doctor, rather not share it with his family. That's another example of willful ignorance. You just don't want to know. Now, let's apply this to religion. Ordinary ignorance pops up. Let's say you don't know much about something religious, say the Bible or the Talmud or whatever. You don't know much about prayer, how to do it, if it works. You don't know if you should try. But what can you do? You can talk to somebody who knows more than you do. You could read up on it, or you could just give it a try. Ordinary ignorance is pretty easy to deal with. Willful ignorance is something else. Imagine you're about to get married. Your beloved is a devout believer in fill in the blank. You're making a serious commitment to this other person, but you really don't buy all those beliefs that he or she treasures. What to do? A lot of people in that situation just agree to cross their fingers and go along. Pretend. And there's a kind of willful ignorance that plays out this way. You find yourself free to think for yourself until you run up against one of those beliefs. At that moment, you are expected to stop thinking. Stop asking questions, accept what you're told, and shut up. You stop looking for other perspectives. You stop thinking for the sake of the community, the relationships, the belonging. Some religions have an official list of things that if you're a part of them, you need to sign off on each one. In the Christian tradition, they call it a creed. Now, going back to this hypothetical wedding, you agree to say yes to please the parents, to satisfy the officiant, to please your beloved. One of those famous creeds, the Nicene Creed, starts with the words, I believe in God, the Father Almighty, maker of heaven and earth, and it goes on and on and on. I never used creeds in the services that I led in all those years of ministry. Willful ignorance happens not just in the context of religion. It works the same if you are a true believer in a cause, a true believer in a political movement, a true believer in a dietary plan or a conspiracy theory. If you honor whatever that belief system is, you consent to stop thinking, stop wondering, stop questioning. Or you could just go ahead and reveal what you're really thinking and defy the rules. Of course, if you do that, you might get kicked out, shunned, considered a pariah. And this sort of thing has often become the source of arguments in a family, in a community. Also, cause for wars. It's happened so many times. A belief is a fixed, non-negotiable idea. It's like a wall, and you have to say either yes or no. You are either in or out. The willfully ignorant aren't just found in certain conservative churches or in fundamentalist Jewish groups or Islamic extremist circles. It can happen in a nice, liberal, free-thinking situation. One day I was hanging out in my favorite coffee house. I would go there to read, to write, to ponder. I do a lot of pondering. But I also find that it was a great place to meet people. And I saw this guy. He looked like a gringo. You can tell. I didn't recognize him, so I figured he was either a tourist or an expat who I hadn't met. And I introduced myself, and we got to talking. And at some point, he asked the question, so, what did you do before you retired? And I confessed that I was a retired minister. He nearly exploded. How dare you foist these lies on people? I can tell from our conversation you're not stupid. I know that you know what you're doing. You've deliberately been recruiting vulnerable people to join your cult. You're exploiting them, duping them, promoting beliefs that you know are patently false. I broke into his rant and I told him that I was pretty sure that he and I actually shared a lot of the same values. But he was having none of that. He kept on as if he hadn't heard me say anything. His rant was endless. His ideas were fixed. He was a true believer. He was sure that he knew the truth. He was sure he knew what I was about. I walked out because it didn't look very promising. And I'm sad to say this was not the only time that this sort of thing has happened. I dare say the willfully ignorant are among us. I want to describe a third kind of ignorance, and that would be an open ignorance or curious ignorance. Somebody who practices curious ignorance is open to new information, new perspectives, new data, new points of view. They're open when new information shows up. A curious ignorance fits perfectly with the scientific method. You begin by acknowledging what you don't know. You're honest about what you expect to find, but you're open to whatever turns up in the experiments. With curious ignorance, we can respect each other, although we differ. We can learn from each other. We can work with each other. We can relax around each other. We can be profoundly grateful for whatever you learn from others in the process. That's a curious ignorance. And I'm arguing that this kind of ignorance is a life-saving antidote for beliefs and belief systems. You should try it. You should try it. And I think that we as a community try to practice it and should even more. Now, after all that, I offer a blessing from the Buddhist tradition. May you be well. May you always be safe. May you be deeply happy. And I add, may you always be ignorant in the best sense of the word.
Thank you, Mark, for that very thoughtful and provocative talk today. Now we're going to pass the basket for the offering in support of all the work of this fellowship. We will thank you in advance for your generosity and hope that you will be generous today. Thank you, Paula and Michael, for that beautiful music. So now let's join our voices together in song with hymn number 108 in your hymnal. Please rise as you're willing and able.
Yes, please be seated. We look with uncertainty beyond the old choices. We look hoping for light to a softer, more permeable aliveness, which is every moment vulnerable at the brink of death. For something new is being born in us if we but let it. We stand at a new doorway, awaiting that which comes, daring to be human creatures, vulnerable to the beauty of existence and learning to love. We are about to depart, and the goal is that each one of us carries this light with us. Although we extinguish these candles at this time, please remain seated for the postlude, and I look forward to mingling with all of you afterwards.